Okay, Manansky, he's been dying to talk about this story. Do you think this isn't just a story? You think you're being
targeted?
Scammed? Do you think you're what's your worry here?
No, I don't. I don't think people realize this. I actually love doing this on the show because had I been better prepared, I think it would have gone smoother for me. Here's the deal: I was Time Warner. I had signed an agreement. It was a 1-year contract. That recently expired, but obviously Time Warner's not there anymore. So when I call Spectrum, I was a little confused because what they said to me was, "Well, your agreement with the 1-year deal with Time Warner expired. What we've done is we've transitioned you into another package offered by Time Warner." And I said, "Why am I getting Time Warner packages? You guys bought them out and took over." And what they said was, "We don't want to take you from a Time Warner package, switch you in without telling you or without your consent, put you in a Spectrum package. We can't do that."
Okay.
So I didn't realize that. I was a little confused at the beginning. Well, I said, "Okay, well, what's the difference?" So then they run down some price packaging. Here's the bottom line. Here's what I think I learned. One, when I bundled all three with Time Warner and basically saved money, basically you got the phone for free, it was for this purpose. So that when they were selling to Spectrum, they could say, "Look, we have 4 million or however many phone customers who you can charge a premium to." They don't acknowledge the fact that they just gave it to you for free, and it just bumps up the statistic when they're selling. So, long story short, I'm going to get HBO and Showtime for an extra, I think, $15 on top of what I was paying. I'm losing my phone. Here's the other thing.
So you're getting rid of the phone?
I'm getting rid of the phone. It's not even plugged in.
I got rid of the phone too. It was like $35 a month. And
for Spectrum, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, they're more expensive. Time Warner would just throw it in.
Right. I've become trained to think your phones, you just throw it in. Oh, it's like $40.
You're paying for it. They just don't really talk to you about it. But in Spectrum, they're right out up front. Is it $35 or?
It was around $35. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, we'll take that off.
And then I think they sell those to like your phone scammers or like the marketers, the telemarketers.
Right. Here, we're going to give you a phone, and then we're going to give it to every telemarketer in the world.
Well, because seriously, I don't have a phone hooked up, and if I'm watching TV,
you see
a number pop up. And I say,
yeah,
who are they calling?
How do they get your number? And by the way, it's a new number. It's one of the newer numbers.
Right.
How are they getting it?
Exactly.
I don't know.
And here's the other thing. Do you remember right before Time Warner left, I'll say, we went to a digital signal where you had to have that little mini box. If you didn't have like a DVR box, you couldn't just have the cable line going from the wall to the TV.
The worst box in the world. I would rather use the app online and a Roku than that box.
We've got two of them here.
Slow to change channels. You can't see where you're changing. I hate that box, and mine are all gone now.
Right, because Spectrum,
they don't use those.
They don't use those boxes. Nope. You have to have like a DVR box. They actually charge less a month. Time Warner would charge you like $10 to $12.
Yeah,
for basically an HD box to watch your cable in high definition. They only charge about $4, but they charge you per box.
Correct.
So,
and
it's just some changes. I think
I have a lot of boxes, and what I ended up doing. Can I give you my little what I did? Is I went over to Best Buy and I picked up the Roku stick. Now, I'm an Apple TV guy, but Apple TV is going to cost you $99 to $199.
Yeah.
So we have one of those. I'm not going to put one of those in every, but for the Roku is like $30 or something. And you put the stick in, you download the app, the Spectrum app comes onto the TV, and you have almost everything that you'd have on TV. You don't have DVR or any of that stuff. You can't watch DVR'd movies, but everything else is there, and that's what I put on the other TV. So I'm not paying anything.
Yeah.
Once you buy your $30 box, I'm done with it.
So I just want people to know, and I'm glad you said that as well, because we're in an evolution of technology and how we absorb entertainment, and then obviously with the change of a company, what I had been trained to think about cable and the packages and the deals, and I just assumed everything at this point is Spectrum, but there are still Time Warner cables, Time Warner cable packages that you could be a part of. So I just want people to be more informed, because I went through this for like 2 hours on the phone the other night, because I was totally caught off guard. I was like, what do you mean I can still have a Time Warner package?
I don't know how these things
go on.
What do you mean
it's $40 for a phone?
I hope I'm not being, I know I'm being recorded, but I hope they don't do to me what they did to the guy down there by the water at the restaurant in the elevator, because I've had those types of moments with cable, And the last time, it just went on forever. And everybody's giving you, it was during the transition, everybody's giving you different information. And then the next person will come along and say, oh, no, they shouldn't have told you that. That's not true. So for my debacle, I'm like, well, okay, so I want to get rid of the phone.
You know,
And I want to go to the fastest internet speed because I do a lot of work.
that's another thing I'm glad you mentioned.
And I've tested it. It is fast. And I believe I see the difference. But we'll talk about it. So it's all supposed to start immediately. Immediately it's going into play. Well, then they screwed everything up. And this was wrong, and this wasn't working. And then it got a little frictional, where I probably wasn't as pleasant as I should have been.
I can feel the mood in this office going downhill right now.
It is.
In this studio. He's furiously scribbling a
He is.
manifesto.
He's
over here.
I want
upset.
to write some. Are some things I want to get out.
So what happened, though, what I found interesting is they're telling me you can't have you won't get the internet until the order won't be done until the end of the week. So it doesn't go in immediately. And the changes on your account won't go in until the end of the week.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, you just shut off my phone. The phone's dead. How is it that you were able to terminate my phone,
Closer switch.
but you can't do the service that ultimately is going to end up saving me money? That's just the way it is. I don't understand. This went on for days. Finally, I got a guy on the line 2 days later who said, oh, no, we can do that instantly. Hold on. I swear to God. 2 seconds later, he came back and
You should have been recording this.
everything was turned on.
Yeah.
So
You should have been
it's
recording
the
that.
inconsistencies you get from rep to rep. And I like to believe that every once in a while, if you get lucky, you're going to get a really good one who knows everything and takes care of you. And at the end, after about 3 days of this, I finally found somebody. You don't believe the internet's fast?
No, I do believe it's fast, but here's the thing. Whatever package I was on, I could get up to 50 megabytes per second with Time Warner, right? So
And what does that really mean?
exactly. So when I'm talking to Spectrum, she said to me, to have an equal package to what you had, it cost you about $170 a month. And I said, no, that's too much. I don't want that. So we got talking about internet. And she said, well, you have 50 megabytes per second now. She said, but our minimum is 100. And I said, how's that possible? You haven't come to my house. You haven't added wire. You haven't put new wire in. How can all of a sudden...
They already have fiber to your house.
It's already there?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Everything's changed now. In order for you to get all of these services years ago, Time Warner had to upgrade stuff. But what they didn't upgrade is there's only so much bandwidth. I'm sure there's somebody out there that could explain this to us. 315-736-0186. There's only so much bandwidth. And what Spectrum has done is they've opened up more. Their way they're doing it is differently. It gives you more speed. And you do, I'm telling you, I had a noticeable difference when they...
Well, I can't wait because according to them, they told me the same thing. None of these changes happen until the guy comes to my house on Sunday. He's coming on Sunday, right before the football games. And that's when I'll get HBO.
Allegedly.
Exactly.
Do you have nachos and stuff for them? Because they like that.
Oh, well, I'll keep that in mind.
I don't know.
Maybe I get a couple extra channels turned on too.
Pull the cork out of the other.
And then I'll get all this really fast speed. The other thing, which I thought was a good thing, while I'm paying about $15 to $20 more than I had previously been under Time Warner, they said that this agreement, it's no contract, and I can be at that price for at least 3 years. So I thought that was a good
cool.
thing. As a
Yeah.
fixed cost,
Yeah.
I know for 3 years.
But keep track because you might find there's a better deal that comes along, and you could have had that deal, but you stayed on this.
Well, but
Yeah.
again, there's no contract. I should be able to change a deal anytime.
You can, and Time Warner was the same way. When they say contracts, they're targeting satellite TV. Right?
Can I tell my funny Spectrum story?
And after a beer, now Nagel wants to tell his Spectrum.
Didn't want to before.
Oh man! So I don't actually have Spectrum because I still watch Charlie Seeley on hair and cable basically in my house. But my funny Spectrum story is, as you know, I cover a lot of the Adirondacks, and when you get into some of these small towns up there, they are very, very tenuously tied to infrastructure. So if a wire goes down, they lose a lot of services up there. So I'm in a bar, and I go to use the ATM, and everything seems to be working properly. But at the end, it says no line can be established. So I say to the bartender, he goes, "Oh yeah, our phones and our internet is down. So everything else is working, the power's on, but there's no internet and therefore no credit card machines." I go, "Oh crap." So everybody at the bar is kind of humble grumbling about it. "God damn, Spectrum, yeah, these guys suck. The brand new Spectrum, and they can't even make things work up here.
Yeah.
So this goes on for a few minutes, and everybody's getting increasingly more agitated with Spectrum. And some guy walks in and goes, "Oh yeah, that's because a beloved contractor so and so dropped a tree this morning on the wires." And they're like, "Oh, that's okay."
Yeah.
So because they knew who he was.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, that's all
I got
right.
such a kick out of that.
He was
already.
in the bar, actually. No. So if I'm on Time
How
Warner
did you
now,
pay your bill, by the way? Because you didn't have cash.
Tab.
Tab.
They trust
Okay.
me up there. They know where I live.
All right, that's good. All right.
so if I've got a Time Warner package now, I'll just go through the headache that Jeff did, and I could probably get a better deal now if I switch over.
Well, I can coach you. And again, while I am paying more, it drove me because there's a lot of shows like Paw Patrol and stuff like that, Mickey Mouse, and there's another show that he likes, Alvin and the Chipmunks. Some of that stuff I can't
For
get on
his son.
demand
Right.
because of the Time Warner package I had. This allows
you
me
got it.
access to that. Plus, I get HBO and Showtime,
Yeah.
which is great. So,
So
for
both
me, it's
you
worth
and
it.
your kid are happy. It's all.
We're
it's all good.
happy. We won't leave the
I
living
want to
room.
leave you with one quick story. We went to Canada while I was on vacation, and you have to pay. You used to have to pay to, I don't know, it was like there's a $50 package, a $100 package, or a $150 package to be able to get data up when you cross over into Canada.
Right.
Oh, right.
So AT&T has now removed that entirely. It's a part of the plan that I'm on. And by the time I'm driving down the thruway, by the time I got to Canada, my bill was lowered significantly.
Does
it
Trump
was
know about
awesome.
this data coming over the border?
No, you might not know. We're trying to build a wall. It's a firewall. We're going to build it.
Is it DACA or data?
But just to let you know, the first person I talked to had no idea this plan existed and sold me the $100 plan to be able to go into Canada. And I had an additional question, and the guy's like, "Why did she put you on this? You don't need that. You've already got the service." So sometimes it pays to call back and say, "I really think the person I talked to prior knew exactly what they're talking about, but just to be safe, did they?" Because maybe not.
Wow.
I saved significantly. We did not have to pay any of that money to go into Canada or Mexico anymore. So if you're traveling on vacation, AT&T covers all that for you. Pretty good. Otherwise, you're paying like, I don't know, $2.50 a minute, and you'll come home with a really, really big bill after your iPhone sucks up all this data that you're being charged with.